excited to have Megan Ramos here with us, and we're going to be talking about everything fasting. We're going to be talking about extended fasting. So welcome, Megan. Tell people a little bit about you and a little bit about your own personal intermittent fasting and fasting story.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's great to be here, Chantel. So I co-founded a program called the Fasting Method by Intensive Dietary Management with my colleague, Dr. Jason Fung. He's a medical doctor who specializes in nephrology. We're based in Toronto, Canada. And we utilize intermittent and extended fasting strategies along with time-restricted eating protocols and low-carb diets to help our patients and clients regain control of their health, achieve sustainable weight loss, and put their diabetes in, reverse their diabetes and reduce their medication dependency.
That's awesome. And for people who don't know what nephrology is, it's the branch of medicine that deals with the physiology and diseases of the kidneys. And so let's talk about the kidneys for just a second, since we are going to be really focusing on extended fasting today. One of the things that people say is like, okay, well, if you're fasting, you should drink a lot of water. But I want you to kind of expand on that because it can be dangerous as well, right? Like if you're fasting and you're drinking an exorbitant amount of water and you're not balancing that with electrolytes and sodium and so forth, that could be dangerous. Can you talk about that for just a second?
Yeah, absolutely. Overhydration is absolutely just as detrimental as being completely dehydrated. When a lot of people with metabolic syndrome start to fast, their hunger signals are really warped, and they often mistake thirst for hunger. We really try to encourage people when they fast, if you feel thirsty, drink until you no longer feel thirsty. If you feel hungry, drink a little bit, like don't go overboard, but have half a cup of water, wait 30 minutes and see if you are hungry or just thirsty. That way you're not guzzling a gallon of water. You're just taking a little bit and actually testing whether you become more thirsty and the hunger goes away or if you're truly hungry. So everybody, my health coaches were just pleading with me, can we tell everybody that they need to drink 2.375 liters of water a day? Because everybody wants some magical solution where you input like all of their hormonal patterns and body composition and gender and you pop out a number. But the truth is you should just listen to your body and drink when you're thirsty. And it's going to be really different for everybody. My husband, 6'4" guy, really active. He doesn't drink very much throughout the day when he's fasting because he's just listening to his body and drinking when he's thirsty. Versus myself, I'm 5'1". I've got some adrenal issues. I have an autoimmune condition called Addison's disease. So I'm very thirsty and I probably drink a few more times than him, but my body's acclimated to that. The problem with overhydration is that you're totally going to deplete yourself of electrolytes. And then you're going to start to experience all of that unwanted, nasty keto flu when you're fasting and you're not going to feel well. And fasting is supposed to be something that you're supposed to feel energized and good and like you're conquering the world and you're fueling on body fat. So how great is that? You're losing fat and feeling excellent at the same time. So it's really the issue with overhydration is really depleting yourself of electrolytes. So a way to check is just to simply look at the color of your urine. You want your urine to not be clear, like crystal clear, like water. You want it just to be like a light straw color. You want it to have some concentration of it. You don't want it to be completely depleted of all electrolytes. That's really important because you're going to get nauseous, and nausea is just game over. You need to stop your fast then, and you want to fast so you can successfully get control of your health.
So let me ask you, because so in the morning, sometimes like, let's say he urinates and I feel like it's very like a bright yellow color. And sometimes it's a very strong smell in the morning. And what is that? Like, what does that mean if somebody has, a darker color urine and a very strong smell? What are some of the possible things that could be going on if that's the very first urine of the day?
So very dark urine could mean it's not uncommon to have your darkest color urine of the day be in the morning, or to have darker urine in the morning. It just usually means your urine's more concentrated because you're not as hydrating as much, which makes sense because you're sleeping. Very, very dark urine can sometimes be indicative of protein spilling out into the urine. And the dark urine in that case is usually accompanied by a very foul odor, smell. Sorry. And so as in the lab while I was going through school, I used to just loathe kidney patients' urine samples because it would have such a potent smell. But the smell can be due to other reasons too. It's not always necessarily a sign of high protein in the urine and kidney damage. It could be simply just due to urinating out ketones and your urine being more concentrated in ketones. And the ketones have a bit of a foul smell to them as well in the urine. So it could actually be a good thing if you're trying to lose body fat and you're actively following a ketogenic diet. The smell can sometimes be glucose spilling out into the urine, which we see more often in type 1 diabetics. We do see sometimes in type 2 diabetics, especially type 2 diabetics on SGLT2 inhibitors such as Invokana or Jardiance or Farxiga. So it can be a good thing. It can be something to go and just double check with your doctor and make sure everything's okay. If you were a little bit worried that your urine might be a little bit too concentrated in the morning and perhaps you weren't drinking enough fluid the day before, then about 90 minutes before you go to bed, try, if you're someone that has a glass of water, maybe try having 1.5 or 2 glasses of water. Give yourself 90 minutes to process it a bit so you're not waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. But sometimes that just helps some people that are overly concerned that they might have some sort of issue going on.
I'd love for you guys to go to our Facebook group, the Intermittent Fasting and OMAD group. We're doing a sleep contest. We want to see how your sleep is doing. And if you've been out having fun and it's time to get your health routine back, then sleep is a really, really big part of it. And so we're going to do a little bit of a sleep contest. Go, if you've got like an Oura ring or something like that, you can post how much you're sleeping, but sleep is so key. It's the one thing that I feel like I've got so dialed in. And the only reason is because of my favorite product, which is the Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. It's the only one that contains 7 forms of magnesium, and it helps you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. It's a total game changer, and just so you know, it's 100% money back guarantee. So if you don't love it, just return it, get all your money back. But I'm getting you 10% off. So go to magbreakthrough.com/wasteaway, enter the code wasteaway for 10% off any order. And this special offer is only available at magbreakthrough.com/wasteaway. Don't forget to put wasteaway for 10% off.
And what is your, I know you had said you had an autoimmune disease. What was the name of it? And can you expand on that and how has fasting helped it?
Yeah, so I have an autoimmune condition called Addison's disease, which is primary adrenal insufficiency. So it's not adrenal fatigue. There's actual physical damage to my adrenal glands, and they don't work very well, unfortunately. It's something that I'm genetically predisposed to. My mother has actually surgical Addison's. So I always say, if you hear me talk, you're never doomed by your genetics, but certain lifestyle habits can trigger your genetics to sort of come to life. So my previous lifestyle, I ate so much McDonald's growing up that the lady at the McDonald's near the nephrology clinic would call me baby doll, and I wouldn't even have to place my order. So let's just say my previous lifestyle didn't help, and it likely triggered this, and then just it's become problematic. So what fasting's really been most beneficial for is like a type 1 diabetic who needs to take some insulin, I have to take some oral steroids that my adrenal glands don't produce. And most people think, oh my gosh, like steroids are the demon devil. But fasting and low carb have enabled me to just take the minimal amount of steroids I need to survive and thrive. So I'm not eating all the time and eating terrible foods and then having to constantly double and triple and quadruple my steroid intake. I actually get to just take a healthy portion or a healthy dosage of it. So all of my traditional doctors are like, what's going on? You're not getting fat, you're getting healthier. And anyone who goes on steroids gets worse. So that's been a great factor. Another thing with fasting, it's just incredibly great at reducing the inflammation. So if I go to like an Addison support meeting, you know, I look like I got lost. I'm not there with aches and pains and have all this swelling. And what I'm really interested in is autophagy. So autophagy is where you get it's a physiological process where you get cellular recycling. And that means old and damaged cells are being broken down and new cells are being replaced. Or replacing them. And fasting is a tremendously efficient trigger for autophagy. So I've had my adrenal glands imaged. I know they don't look very nice, but you know, in a little while, I'm planning on having another MRI, and I'd really like to see if the autophagy from fasting actually revitalizes my adrenal glands, because you never quite know. I've seen it in patients with type 2 diabetes that almost burn out their pancreas to the point where they don't have an autoimmune condition, but they look like a type 1 diabetic patient. And we've fasted them, and we've actually seen that over time, the cells in the pancreas that produce insulin, the beta cells, start to regenerate in some cases. And the pancreas goes from being this old, worn out gland to being a healthy, functioning gland. So, you know, I always sort of describe this, you know, type 1.5 diabetes as like your pancreas is like a totally worn out tire. So we want to fast and do low carb to protect whatever tread's left there. But with fasting and low carb, we've actually seen the tread improve on the pancreas. And that's a really, really inspiring and an ode to just the unlimited potential of autophagy. So I'm very interested in that. So I'll definitely be sharing that or sharing those results as I get them.
Awesome. And everyone else, stay tuned because we have another amazing episode coming right up.